Hey guys, and thank you so much for joining me. I've been reading a lot of your comments, and then I read a lot of your comments on my video from last night. So I've gotten some mixed reaction about this finale, but hopefully you saw the video that I did where I was doing my live reaction. But if you didn't, I'll just quickly tell you what I thought about it. I feel like I like parts of it. Like I enjoyed how they wrapped up and explained what had happened in the previous episode. Like they did that right off the top, which I liked. The scene where I was going to call him KJ, but Archie was trying to rescue Cheryl was really, really intense. And if you didn't know this, he did break his arm IRL in that scene, which was crazy. And the ending was really, really good. And I didn't know what to expect because I thought they would devote more time to setting up the new mystery. So I kept waiting for that. And then we were like in the final minutes and I was like, is anything going to happen? I even said that to you guys like in my reaction video. And so when I saw the robbery scene, that was just, it kind of came out of nowhere for me. And the only thing that I wish had happened was that they hadn't shown us who was shot and made it even more of a cliffhanger. And I kind of feel like that Archie's dad's going to live, even though it looked like he had a pretty serious injury. So I don't think he's going to die, but that was just interesting. But anyway, I'm going to go to your comments now, and I'll just say hello to everyone I see in the room, who is Callie, Charlie, Firkin, Deja. I'm missing some people here. Fort Walton Beach Girl, Fred, Sheena, Emilio. And just let me know in the comments what you thought about the episode. Deja says, do you think there were some things that they could have cut out? Yeah, I mean, it was, to me, I was a little bit bored. I'm just going to be totally honest. And I know some people absolutely loved it, but I kind of felt like it was just a regular episode for most of the episode. I really enjoyed seeing Jughead accept being part of the Serpents. And I think that will be interesting to see him in that role next season and see if that changes his relationship with Betty and what happens to him as a person because of that, which I thought was interesting. That part, the robbery and the Cheryl attempted suicide, were, I think, the best parts. But the rest of it to me was just kind of whatever, just like people hooking up and stuff like that, you know, which is fine. But I don't know if if they needed an entire hour to do all of this. I'm kind of wondering if they could combine what happened last week with this week, possibly. I don't know. But Fred said that it was your personal favorite episode. Charlie says it could have been a fantastic finale if they saved the more dramatic stuff like Cheryl's attempted suicide, Archie's dad shooting, etc., for the end of the episode rather than drama filler. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. Oh, yeah, and Sheena's making a point here that I should have mentioned, that Betty has a brother, and I didn't say this in my reaction, but I'm wondering if FP could be the father of this mysterious brother. I definitely think that this person will show up next season and play some kind of role, and I don't know if he's going to be like a good guy or a bad guy, but I don't believe he's somebody that we've seen before. But if you think that we have like a mid-20s guy, I don't know, unless it's like someone in the Serpents that we don't really know. It's probably that guy that I talked about in the video with the feather earring, right? No, I'm just joking. Oh, I'm sorry, Tobin. So you tried to watch it and now you're tired. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Ralph said Betty and Polly's brother is not a mystery in the comics, but again, oh, okay. Now I've solved it. Cool. I should be coming back any second now. Oh, we can only hope. We can only hope. Oh, I think I'm back. Do you guys see me? I think I'm back. Hi, I am back. Okay. Yes. So let me see. Oh, so apparently Ralph says that in the comics he's an FBI agent. Chick Cooper, I guess is how you say that. Um, will he be like this in the show? Probably not. I don't know. So, that's interesting. That was an interesting element that was revealed. We knew there was something up with what happened at homecoming and all that stuff. So, for some reason, I thought that she had had an abortion with this baby, but I guess not. Hi, Daniel. Thanks for being here. Hi, Lionel. Hi, Kenneth. Charlie says, do I think the teen drama is reflecting more or less what the parents went through when they were at school? Yeah, possibly. I mean, to me, I kind of felt like it was silly that Betty was getting bullied for dating Jughead or whatever. I'm just like, there were just some parts of the show that I just felt were like, they were just whatever. I was just really happy that there was not a CoverGirl commercial because I started getting nervous because there was a lot of filler. I was like, they're going to throw a CoverGirl commercial in here. I know it because they would think a lot of people would be watching because it's the finale. Annie is wondering if we know this brother, and I've been thinking about that, and I can't think of who it is, but if you have seen someone in season 1 that you think could be the brother, let me know, but I can't think of anyone in that age range that we've met and like actually heard this person speak. Firkin says he's accepting who he really is and where he is from, and that is for sure going to cause some drama in the second season. We're talking about Jughead here, which I thought was really interesting because they all went to save him at his new Southside High School, and he was actually super popular there and doing really well, and maybe actually doing better than he was at Riverdale. So he seemed really happy there, so I don't know, maybe that's not that bad of a thing. Deja says, is it just me or did Jughead seem a little too happy wearing the serpent jacket? Yeah, I think he was really into it. And I think that probably for most or not all of season 2, he's going to embrace being a serpent. And I don't know exactly what all that's going to entail. Like, I don't know if he's going to get involved in bad things. Like, I hope not, but I kind of feel like there is going to be some drama where he's going to do some stuff that maybe we wouldn't have seen him do in this season. Yeah, yes, Kay, the CoverGirl commercials are ridiculous because they would be like, this mascara will look great on you tonight, Betty. Like holding it up. It was just like, it was so like obvious. It wasn't even subtle, Kay says you don't think we met her brother yet. I don't think we have either. Charlie says at least there was no segue for a paranormal teenage. So yeah, so we haven't heard anything about Sabrina, but what I've heard is that she's not going to be having like special powers on the show. So I don't know. Deidre says, do I think we will see? Yes, I was wondering if we would see Hiram Lodge in this episode. We didn't, but they talked about him a lot again. And I definitely think we'll see him next season. I'm thinking like episode 1. And does anyone know when this is returning? But I just think some people really like the fact that they saved the killer reveal, or they actually did the killer reveal before the finale. But it feels kind of underwhelming to me that, we're doing a live show or this show about a finale where it's like there's not a lot to talk about because we've already discussed it because that happened last week. So that's a little weird for me. I personally like when something really big goes down. Now they did give us something kind of big, pretty big with the shooting, but I don't like the way they handled that because I don't like the fact they showed us who was shot and, and where he was shot, where I think maybe he can live. Like I needed more drama there. Like I thought it was great how they pulled out to the outside of the restaurant and, we heard the gunshot. We didn't know who was shot and they should have just like gone to black then. So I just feel like they gave us too much information. Of course, it's still kind of suspenseful, but like Archie jumped right in front of him and I was like, oh my God, like who got shot? Lionel thinks that Hiram Lodge shot Fred Andrews. The shooter didn't even take money. It was all over the floor. So, that's kind of what I was thinking, or he hired someone, and Ralph made a comment, and Ralph was in the room, about how he thinks Hermione is involved, and I'll let you explain that if you're still here, because I can't remember the details, and that's your theory, and you're better at remembering what you said than I would be, but it was really interesting, and I like that point of view. William says they start filming next month, so you guess maybe September. So maybe, I'm trying to think, when did this start? January? Yeah, so maybe in the fall, or maybe not until 2018, I guess, possibly. Yeah, I thought we might get something from Sabrina, Corey, but we didn't, so I haven't even heard like who's playing her. Have you guys? Hi, Erin. Thank you so much for being here. Sheena liked the scene where Betty was talking to her mother and there was a mirror. You thought it was an artsy shot and hints that there are multiple personalities. Yeah, so, and that's the other thing that they may go into if they reveal, which I think they will, this brother next season, if he's going to have kind of a big role. Maybe he has some issues, or maybe he has, I don't want it to be like PLL, but maybe he's in a mental institution or something. And Ferguson's talking about the same thing, Betty and her mom's reflection. Yeah, really interesting. So Tobin says we got answers and we got setups for season 2. You were disappointed that the cliffhanger, that the cliff was a real hanger. So series 2 will be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to season 2, and I really kind of feel like we know what's going to happen with the cliffhanger that we got in this episode, and I think that, you know, Archie's dad's going to live and whatever, but we don't really know why he was shot, and we don't know the specifics of who was behind that. So that is, I guess, the mystery for next season, maybe with some other stuff. And I don't, you know, like I've said before, I don't think that we're necessarily going to have a dead person to figure out who killed this person every season, because it doesn't really have to be that way. So here's Ralph with his Hermione theory, saying that Hermione had Fred shot to scare him off and to take the deal due to him being strapped for cash, and he would not be able to pay the medical bills. So that's really interesting, and I didn't think about that. And I just immediately thought, like, it's Hiram, and I thought Hiram hired this person. But maybe Hermione hired the person. I don't think it was her, you know, as the robber. Deidre thinks the next season will develop Betty's mental health, as the episode we have seen her do weird nails into her hands, saying, oh yeah, you think she's crazy. Yeah, so I definitely think she's got some issues, and her mom has definitely alluded to that. And like I said, maybe they will explore this older brother. Maybe he's had some issues. So we also are going to have the issue of Polly with the babies. Like, are they going to keep Polly on the show in a regular way, or maybe she'll give them up for adoption? Like, I don't know. I always kind of wonder what's going to happen, like on How to Get Away with Murder. We have a pregnant cast member on the show, and I just don't know how, when a show is like super chaotic, like how do you deal with babies and how will they handle that character? So I will be interested to see what happens with Polly. Does she stay in the role she's in, or do we just not see her as much? Or does she, I could definitely see her giving the babies up for adoption, especially after learning that she was related to Jason. Tobin says the dad killing the son seemed like such a cliche. You hated the killer, but this episode made it worth it. There's so much more to explore. Season 2 will get darker and better. I think probably the most promising thing for me in this finale was what happened with Jughead. And I'm interested to see him going down like a darker path, you know? Because I think that's going to cause major drama between him and Betty. You could see it in her face, like she was so upset that he was embracing that serpent jacket. So I think that there's going to be some big time drama with him, and he'll probably do some stuff that he should not be doing. Ralph says the shooter was a serpent due to the shooter wearing the serpent standard green flannel shirt. I didn't even catch that. That's very observant. Charlie thinks Hermione is shady AF. Could totally see her hiring the shooter too. Fred said it had to be Hermione who sent the shooter. Fred couldn't have gotten shot for no reason. And Jughead also said in the narration that this was not random. And since Fred didn't accept Hermione's offer, she had to kill him. We've seen this episode, how horrible she is. Exactly. But I don't think he's dead. I don't know if it was intended on killing him. It definitely looked like a bad wound, but it could have been like lower than the vital organs. So I think he's going to live. But I honestly thought for a minute that they were going to kill off Cheryl. You know, I was like, well, I mean, that was actually that was very intense. And especially with KJ punching the ice and everything. But I mean, I really thought, wow, they're seriously not going to kill her. I wanted them to, honestly, because, you know, I think they should go there. I always am in support of killing off main characters, because I think it's just, you know, really brave of a show to do that. So I was hoping for that, but that didn't happen, but that's okay. Daniel says, do I think Cheryl will do more crazy things in season 2? Yes, I should have mentioned she burned down her house, which was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think she's kind of coming apart, and I don't blame her, because like, look at all the crap she's been through. She lost her brother, and then she found out her dad did it. So, you know, I just think that if for her to do more things that are kind of crazy could definitely be expected. I mean, she tried to end her life because she felt like there was like no purpose, I guess, after all of this. And she's just been through a lot of stuff. So I could definitely, I could definitely see her going down a crazier path. Yeah, I'll check out Julie's live chat. I didn't get a notification about that, but maybe I don't get it until she shows up with her live chat, but I will look for that. Kay says, if Hiram is the reason he got shot, do you think Archie will leave Veronica? Oh, so that's kind of another weird element of this episode, because it's like, I definitely think that Archie's super jealous of Jughead now. And what I think that may be opening it up for is for there to be drama between Jughead and Betty next season because he's a serpent. And then also that drama with Hermione and whatever happened with Archie's dad with her. So I think possibly that's setting things up for Archie and Betty to get together next season. Ralph says Fred is not dead due to Luke Perry being a TV actor and Molly Ringwald a film actor. Luke Perry is affordable. This is why Molly was only in 2 episodes, because this was the CW's budget, right? So Molly basically has not been in this show at all, just a little. I don't know how much of a role she's going to have next season, but that's been interesting. Darcy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Fred says Betty was pretty selfish this episode. She doesn't seem to want what's best for Jughead. She was definitely not happy when the serpents gave him the jacket. Well, I don't know if him being a serpent is exactly what's best for him, and I think she's just concerned. I mean, I think it's just more than like being in a group or a gang or a club, or, you know, wearing a jacket, and I just think that she's concerned about what all goes along with that. I mean, it might be like, yes, you're a member now, but you have to do certain things to be in their good graces, like to be a member of this group, you have to perform things or do crimes or stuff like that. Like, I don't think it's just like, hey, you're a serpent, this is your jacket, and it's like, welcome to the club, and you don't have to do anything. That's kind of what I'm wondering. I mean, they were really nice to him at the end, and I like that, but I think there's some really shady people in that organization, and I think they're going to expect him to do favors for them and crimes for them, and I think it's going to be really messy. Ralph says, how awkward was Archie kissing Veronica in front of Val? Yeah, I know, definitely. Tobin says, holy crap, this whole series is going to be from the book that Jughead is writing. It's like Stand By Me, Stephen King. You said it before, and Jug narrating is not a coincidence. James says, maybe Sabrina the Teenage Witch will be a girl from the South Side Riverdale, like a Wicca goth girl. Okay, that's a really good thought. So maybe Sabrina is going to be a student at the Southside High School. That's interesting. I like that. And what is up with Josie and the Pussycats? I just feel like they don't have a purpose in this show. I mean, like, they showed up a little bit again, and it was just like, I don't know. I just feel like that. I don't know if they have a big role like in the comics, but I feel like they don't have any type of purpose in the show. Maybe they will. Corey says this episode was full of characters doing a 360, Jughead, Hermione, and Archie all suddenly acting different. Yeah, well, I think that's cool. I think that's just setting us up for next season and how people change, and they're going to change as characters. So I think that's definitely why they waited till this finale to do that. So as much as I was a little bit bored with this episode, I do see the purpose, especially after talking to you guys. I see what they were doing, and it was exactly what they said they were doing, but they set everything up, and I think you need to really think about what happened, because that's what's going to happen in season 2. That's setting the story up. Ralph says to get a biker cut, you need to have a bike, have at least 1 felon on your record, be a probate for at least a year or determined time. So I don't think Jughead has a bike, and pretty sure he's not a felon. So I mean, like I said, I think it's not a good thing that he is a member of this bike gang, and I think it's going to cause a lot of problems. Andy thinks that the Pussycats are just there to show that Archie can sing. Yeah, and I guess apparently he does that in the comics, but I don't know. Firkin says you're kind of scared that Betty and Archie are in game. I definitely think they are, because why would they have had those weird Archie scenes if he really didn't love her? You love Bughead. Yeah, I do too, but I think that, and I mean, I think this show's going to be on for a few seasons, but I think that that relationship is going to have a lot of problems because of him being a serpent and everything. Tobin, when did you tweet me? I don't know. I haven't looked in a few hours. And if you tweeted me before then, I'm sorry. I might have missed it, but let me know. Katie says, you hope Betty doesn't fall for Archie again. He only wanted her after he saw her with someone else. But I definitely think that by the end of the series, they will be together. That's what I think. Ralph says the writer didn't research enough when it comes to bikers. Well, I really also think that regardless of that mistake, the serpent people are going to expect him to do crimes and other stuff. Like, I think it's a bad path. Deja says it makes you wonder if down the line that Jughead will slowly turn into his father while being a serpent. And I think that's a really good statement, and I definitely think that could happen because, you know, he's been really nice and really likable this season. And I could see him, you know, being influenced by this gang, being influenced by his new friends at the new school, and just going down like a really, really bad path. Charlie says the parallels between FP and Betty's mom, Jughead and Betty, are crazy to you. It makes you think they were in relationship as teens. Maybe FP was the father of the baby. I definitely think he is the father of the older brother. Absolutely. I heard the Scooby-Doo reference. Yes, Corey. You want the series to go in that direction, the group solving crimes. Yeah, I love Scooby-Doo. What was it? I forgot what they said. I don't know, it wasn't like Mystery Machine, but I forgot the reference, but I caught that. Mr. HOD doesn't like Archie and Betty. Archie made it clear more than once he's not interested in her. Yeah, it's just kind of like that thing where you don't want someone until someone else wants them, and you're like, oh, wait, I don't want them to be with someone else. Like, now I want them, you know? And Ralph says Cheryl would absolutely have to go to the hospital after falling in the water. Well, definitely she would have hypothermia and probably other injuries, and yeah, she was fine after that. Yeah, thanks, Darcy, for watching. You should watch Riverdale. It's a really good show, or thank you for being here. Nikki's wondering if I think Fred was the one selling the drugs. You got the feeling from this episode. Okay, so that is really interesting, and I hadn't thought about that. Was Fred actually working with Mr. Blossom, with Cliff in a way? Was he in on that business? I don't know. Oh, Tobin is that you've been waiting for this live stream over 9 hours of work. Really? That is so sweet. I feel like I saw that like pop up, but I don't know if I liked it. But I'm sorry if I did not like it. I meant to. But thank you so much for being here and for waiting for that. Fergan says you hope Veronica is going to turn out bi. That would be interesting. They've kind of hinted at that, so I don't know. You don't like Archie and Veronica that much. It would be cool to see her with another girl, maybe Sabrina. Well, I think that it's kind of a one-sided thing because I think she's way more into Archie than he is into her. That's kind of what I'm getting. Deja wonders if Betty's brother and the shooter are the same. Now, that's really interesting. So is Betty's brother a serpent? I think that's a really good question because especially if FP is his dad, he could definitely be a serpent. Maybe we haven't seen him, though. And would he be the one who shot Archie's dad? That would be real crazy and a really good twist. Fred says you used to like the show more earlier on. It seemed promising. Episodes 9 through 12 weren't very good in your opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I think there were, I feel like it was on for such a long time. I think it started like in January, didn't it? And now we're in May. And it felt long to me, like this season felt long. And I think it did because I watched so many shows where they split the seasons. And this was just one big season, even though they had breaks in there. So I think there were a few episodes that really probably they could have done without. But overall, it was pretty good. Mr. HOD wishes the shooter shot Archie as well. Well, I just wish we didn't know who he shot so that we would be wondering for next season. William says your theory is that the finale cliffhanger is just one of the mysteries for next season and the real big storyline will come in season 2, episode 1. That is good because, you know, it is interesting about what is Fred's deal, why did he get shot, who's behind that, but how much can we do with that? Like, can we make an entire season off of that? Probably not. So I'm hoping, like you, William, that there is more stuff, more mysteries, bigger mysteries going on. Do I want to see Miss Grundy in season 2? I don't know. I think so many of you guys secretly love her or maybe openly love her. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have said they think she's coming back. So do we need her to come back? Probably not, but it's almost kind of funny to me. So maybe so. Maybe we need to see her again. Corey says, imagine if Betty's brother is a redhead and dates Cheryl not knowing. That would be interesting. That would be really interesting if he dates Cheryl. Ralph says, remember the fact that FP told Jugs that he was more innocent than guilty. That's true. Tobin says, you believe in Fred. He loves his son. You want him to be good. You're on your last strand of hope for family and TV, right? Everyone's so crooked. Charlie says maybe FP already tracked down Betty's mom's baby. He overheard the conversation about her being pregnant. Maybe he was protecting him. So yeah, I mean, that's a really good thought. Maybe he has a relationship with his son, if it is his son. And maybe he's been helping him or helping, paying for things for him throughout the years. I have no idea, but that's interesting. Andy says you think that Betty's brother will be kind of bad because someone needs to be the black sheep of the family. And I think you're exactly right. And I definitely think he's going to be like a serpent. That's what I think, if he's not already. Fred says you're probably going to be alone on this, but you liked when Miss Grundy was in Riverdale. She was pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like there is more to her story, you know, like she had a gun and everything, and then she had like that crazy ex or whatever. And then it was like that one teacher knew who she was because as soon as Archie mentioned her name, he like freaked out and wouldn't work with Archie anymore. So, you know, I mean, it's funny because when she was on the show, there was so much hate for her and like so many comments about how you guys hated her. And now I just see like, I miss her. Tobin loved the storyline with Miss Grundy. Yeah. Ralph says no more incest, third cousins, kids dating their siblings beyond their knowledge, right? I don't know. I kind of feel that way. But Phyllis says you think Fred knew someone was after him. The way he looked at Archie, he really seemed like the robber was after him. That's true. So maybe he knew there could be, I don't think he expected it to happen at that moment, but he thought maybe somebody would catch up with him and whatever he's been doing. Kay says if FP is the dad, won't the son be Jughead and Betty's brother? Yep, that's right. That's interesting. Corey says if there is a murder next season, you want it to be a teenager so bad. Yeah, so you want the murderer to be the teenager. Absolutely. Val says you actually would like to see how Archie would react if she comes back now that he is with Veronica. Well, I feel like talking about Betty. I feel like if Betty acted interested in him, he would act like he didn't care. That's what I feel. Makara says Grundy had an ex-boyfriend that was abusive or something, right? Oh, maybe that's the brother. Yeah. I mean, well, I feel like, didn't they say she was like 35? But that is, I mean, she could have, I think he's like 25, but still could have been her boyfriend. I was actually had that thought last night when I was like, who could it be? And I thought about the abusive boyfriend or husband or whatever, but I don't know. Why was that not a bigger deal? Well, people were telling me yesterday it's not incest because it was third cousins, and it's only incest if it's like father and daughter or grandfather and daughter or grandfather and granddaughter. I don't know. Here we go again on incest. Deja wonders what Fred was going to tell Archie because Archie said that they only eat. That's a great point. They only eat milkshakes at the diner when his dad has something serious to tell him. Yes, but then he never got to tell him. Really great point. Kay says that would be a good twist if Veronica's mom was actually the bad one, not the dad. Really great because Mr. Hiram has been like made out to be this super villain who we've never even seen all season, but maybe she's the real villain. Tobin says it's incest. I mean, it's gross to me. We had a big discussion about this last night in this chat, so I don't know. Hi, Chase. Thank you so much for being here. Ralph says, how was Fred shot when Archie jumped? Yeah, I'm wondering that too. I don't know. The shooter was just like an amazing shot, I guess. I don't know. Val loved the episode, especially Bughead, and also low-key ship Cheryl and Archie now. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, Cheryl was really like all into him, and then that didn't work out. Ralph says third cousin or not, morally it's wrong. Yes, and the only thing I will say, and I'm not like taking up for people hooking up inside of families, but like Jason, I don't think Jason knew that they were related. I don't think so. And I know Polly didn't. So, you know, I don't think they would have done that if they had known. Firkin says you want Betty's brother to be cute and nice as Betty and Polly, though, haha, but you think he will seem nice and stuff but turn out to be evil because he's still hurt and jealous because he was given up for adoption. And we don't know, like, what type of life he's had. Like, maybe he grew up in the foster system, maybe he never got adopted, or maybe he got adopted into a family that just wasn't that awesome. And, you know, Betty and Polly have had a really good life, so he could definitely have a lot of resentment toward his mom, you know? So I think that's going to be an interesting storyline for next season. Andy thinks that Riverdale is doing a PLL. We've seen Betty's brother, but we don't know his name. Maybe, but I can't even think of when we've seen him unless we've seen him in a serpent scene and he wasn't really featured. I don't know. Oh, hi, Julie. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, what did you think about the finale? The Pretty Little Investigator says maybe Betty's brother shot Fred. And I think someone mentioned that a little earlier, but you're probably just now getting here. But I think that would be a very interesting twist. So there's so many different things now that we have talked that I think, you know, could happen next season that's going to make it a really interesting season. So I'm kind of glad we've all discussed, what we think is going to happen. K. Marie says, according to PLL and Riverdale, basically, if your name is Jason, very good point, make sure you aren't dating your cousin. Right. That's pretty funny that both shows have had a Jason dating a cousin. Gross. That was his no, I think Jason was dating on PLL it was like his half sister or something, wasn't it? I don't know. Are you sir thinks that Hiram Lodge will be a big part of next season? I definitely think so. Ralph says Chick Cooper will be different due to Chuck in the comics is a nice guy and an artist, but in the show, Chuck is a complete turd. So I think that this chick or whoever, chick or Chuck or whatever, is going to be a bad guy, but maybe he'll appear to be nice, but really isn't. Ferkin's hoping for more gays in the show. We hope Sabrina is going to be gay. Yeah, we just have 2, right? Joaquin and where did Joaquin go? Was he gone? He got on the bus. I don't know. I kind of zoned out on that. Phyllis says, didn't Betty's mom say earlier in the series that Betty's dad made her? Yeah, I thought she had gotten an abortion, but then I thought they were saying that she didn't because she had this son, or did she have an abortion plus gave birth to this son? Julie hopes we haven't met Betty's brother yet. I kind of feel like we haven't because I cannot think of anyone that we have met that could be him, and it doesn't make sense that we saw him like in the distance. Seriously, it's like that video I met where we saw him in the back by the bathroom and the bar and he was a serpent. Like, why? Tobin says cliffhanger, the pun turned. I loved that cliffhanger thing that Jughead said at the beginning. I'm sorry, that was so funny. I loved it. Firkin says Jason was dating Charlotte, who we thought was his half sister but turned out to be, oh, you're right. We thought it was his half-sister, but it turned out to be his cousin. That is so Pretty Little Liars is the most confusing show ever. Deja thinks he left town because of him being connected to Jason's murder. I think that's why. So I don't know if he's coming back, Ralph says Sabrina won't be gay due to just about all the female witches on the originals are gay. Is that on CW? I feel like I saw a commercial for that. Corey thinks that Betty's brother is Joaquin and FP is the father, but Joaquin is not 25, right, though? Unless he's like one of those people pretending to be younger for I don't know why. Oh, no. Unless they make Miss Grundy the CC Charlotte storyline, says Julie. I can't take anymore. It's just like, that makes things like way too complicated. Tobin says the abortion was an option, but she wanted her daughter to have the same guilt as her. So I kind of feel like she didn't have the abortion, that possible abortion was the son, but that just now came out in this episode. Cheryl could be bi, says Julie. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. Didn't they kind of hint at that? Mr. HOD says the Archie comics gave both endings with, oh, maybe I shouldn't read that. I don't want to spoil that for people. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's not a spoiler. I never know if like a show is going to follow a book, and it makes me nervous because that doesn't bother me. Like that doesn't make me upset, but like Big Little Lies like totally followed the book, and it was like, no. Anyway, Thomas just wants Veronica to stop talking about her dad. Everything is about her dad, right? And I feel like she doesn't even know him that well. Deja says you assumed Joaquin was around the same age or maybe a year older than the main teen characters, but he is not. Right. He looks young. He's not in school though, right? I guess he graduated or something. I don't know. But anyway, so I've got different videos to talk to you about what I'm going to do for the next week because we don't have PLL and we don't have this show anymore. But tomorrow I will have my video where I talk more about the finale, like I always do. And then I'm going to do a video about Scream again, like new information about that. A video about the renewal of 13 Reasons Why. And I'll think of some other things to do. I think I need to react to the PLL promo because I haven't even seen that yet. Ralph does like how all the CW shows come back earlier than all the other network shows. So maybe this show will come back in the fall. That would be really good. I don't know exactly why we haven't met Veronica's dad, but Mark Consuelos has been casted as him. So we're going to see him next season for sure. But I just want to thank you guys so much for being here with me for this season and for all of you who told me I should watch this before it started so that we could have all of these videos and live chats and everything because I have enjoyed the show. So I will have my video up tomorrow and I hope you guys have a really good weekend, and I will not be disappearing just because PLL is off and this is gone. I will definitely be doing videos next week. Yes, Julie, you need to watch that promo. I heard it was good. It didn't show up because like usually I watch it right after the show, but it didn't show up for me because I bought that on iTunes. But But anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have a great night or day and a great weekend. And I will see you tomorrow with my new video. Bye, guys.